Hello?
Hey, dude.
Hey. I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know. Cause I'm on stage, you know?
Nah. It's just, it's gonna be the poorest quality video in the world. No one's gonna watch it unless people do. And if people do, I'll give you half of the monetization.
No, it's okay.
No. You're doing a service.
Oh, well, thank you. That's cool.
Like, you gotta realize how, cool this service is, because I don't know anything about astrology. I've kind of, um, taken myself out of the whole astrology situation because it's been a little bit commercialized and um
It is, huh?
yeah, it's just trendy, and I am not one to follow trends because I think it takes away your individuality and it makes you want to fit in with the crowd. So like I've been trying to avoid astrology, but I know it's beneficial. I just don't really
Well,
want to.
see, trends can do that, but they can also be kind of cool too.
Yeah,
Because it kind of like, I don't know, it gets a group of people to like appreciate something, you know? It's kind of cool to like hop on the bandwagon sometimes.
it's a good way to discover things for sure, but like I try to look inside myself and see how much of this is me being swayed by the crowd and how much of this is myself, and do I actually genuinely enjoy this. And for the
Mhm.
most part with trends, I don't really enjoy them because I enjoy pretty obscure things.
That's cool. It's funny. Your chart said that too.
Are you
It's,
kidding me? Oh my god,
your
I can't.
chart said I so much stuff. When I tell you it, you're gonna think it's crazy. Like
I
what your Saturn like messes with everything. You know what I mean? It's funny because when I was looking at it, I was like, everything kind of falls into place, but there's just this like doubt that planet kind of brings. You know what I mean? I don't
so
know.
that's
It's kind of
Saturn.
crazy. Hmm?
That Saturn brings
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. It brings like doubt. It's all about like Saturn's about like reputation and like structure and like I don't know, like career things like that. So there's always that kind of like doubt that the planet is associated with because it's such a critical thing. It's like, you know, associated a lot with like, I don't know, structure and stuff, you know?
How does structure equal doubt?
Because like, hmm. Well then with that you got to think about like the concept of order and disorder. You know what I mean? The duality of that.
So
That kind of
is it the fact that structure is this false pretense of like order, but chaos is always within it?
kind of yeah.
Okay.
It's yeah, kind of like I think humans are naturally pretty chaotic
Yeah.
and I mean, we all really appreciate structure and order in our lives. It makes our lives a lot better. But naturally, it's not what we're inclined to do as people. You know, it's a learned skill that we all have.
Yeah.
So, anyways, um, so I was kind of thinking about how I wanted to do it, and I was like, there's two different ways I could do it. I could focus on the planets and like go through each planet, like your sun, your moon, your Mercury, and like go down the list that way and explain what they mean. Because the higher up it is on the list, the more influence it has on you personally. And then as you go down, it has like less influence, kind of.
Okay.
Or I could go through your houses from 1 to 12, and that would be more chronological, and that would be more like, I would be, instead of explaining what each thing means, I would be explaining how it works together. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's do that one.
You want to do the second one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, when I first noticed your chart, I noticed you have a few stelliums in the very beginning of your chart, and then at the end of your chart, you have like hardly any planets in your houses, you know?
So
In fact, you
beginning.
don't have any.
Wait, what's a stellium?
A stellium is a group of planets in one area. So, here, I'm going to send you a screenshot of your chart so you can look at it too. So you can, like, see what I'm talking about.
I don't know if I could get.
If you can see it?
I don't think I could get pictures until after the call's done because I have Android.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Can you,
do you
like...
have an Instagram or something?
Yeah, I can send it on Instagram.
Yeah, send it on Instagram.
I have an Instagram.
You have an Instagram?
Yeah, I do.
That's so crazy.
You got my number from Instagram.
I'm just kidding. I know you have an Instagram. Okay, where are you? Okay, I found you.
Okay, so I sent it.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Okay. But, okay, so look at... Okay. I guess I should kind of start by explaining the structure of the whole circle, right?
Yeah, if it matters.
So, in the middle, you see the numbers 1 to 12. How it goes in like a circle like that.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the chronologic way I'm going to go when I'm explaining it. I'm going to start at 1, and then I'm going to go through and talk about what each of your placements mean and like how they work together. And I'll talk a little bit about like the points where it goes from like 12 to 1, and then I'll talk about from like 9 to 10, that little like MC right there. You see that?
Okay.
Because those are kind of big points.
Is that Mercury or something? What does MC mean?
MC is your midhaven.
Midhaven, okay.
Yeah. So the points 1, 7, 10, and 4, those are really important aspects in your chart. See how it makes like a cross?
Which ones again?
It's 1, 4, 7, and 10.
1, 4, 7, and 10. So
Yeah,
that
I'll
blue
go through what they all mean,
cross?
but
That blue cross is what you mean? Or what cross?
So you see where it says ASC, that line? It's on the far left.
Okay.
It's right in the center.
I found
That's your ascendant point right there.
Ascendant.
That's where the chart starts. When you were born, that's what the ascendant line was on.
Okay.
That's why it's hard to explain, but that's why the time is so important, because it shows you where the circle sits, where the number sits in your chart.
Okay. Cool.
And then, let me see. Okay.
What?
Sorry, I was like trying to figure out what I was gonna go, where I was gonna go from there. Okay. So then, okay, so that's the middle of the chart. That's the different houses. Those are the houses. The numbers in there. So you have your first house, your second house, your third house, all the way to your 12th house, right? Each house represents like a certain phase in your life. it goes from like, here, let me pull up the list right now and tell you what each one means.
Do you do tarot?
I don't do tarot.
This kind of reminds me of the major arcana because that also has to do with because I do tarot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because the major arcana of the tarot, which is the cards with the titles on them, like the Empress and stuff, those also have to do with story. So it's interesting that these houses also have to do with story.
Yeah.
But with the major arcana, I think it's like 21 cards, 20-ish cards, so it's a little bit more steps, I guess.
Yeah, because there's only 12 with this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a list right here, and it lists off like what areas each house kind of signifies and concerns. So with your first house, it's about your appearance and your apparent disposition.
So
which pretty
this is
much
house
means
number
it's
1?
like, yeah, that's house number 1.
Okay.
So pretty much what that is like how you present yourself to the world, right? Because it's like you're rising, you're like beginning, you know? It's how you jump into things.
Okay.
Your second house is like your income, your possessions, your values. It has a lot to do with money, things like that. How you make your money, how you handle your money.
So this is just the houses in general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the wheel in the middle. The third one is communication, writing, short journeys, brothers and sisters. That's what kind of areas that concerns. So if you look at your chart, in the third house, you have 4 different planets there.
And that's about
crazy.
Communication?
Yeah. So
Are you fucking kidding me? That's so crazy. Third house has 4.
Yeah.
How many? 4 planets?
4 planets in there.
Oh my god, no wonder I can't stop thinking.
I know. When I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, there it is right there.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time with the houses, if you don't have a planet in there, chances are you don't have a lot of like issues with it. Like a big example of that is Bill Gates. In his second house, the house of value and money, things like that, he doesn't have any planets in there. So he doesn't like, I mean, that right there goes to show he doesn't have any issues with money, and obviously, you know.
Where are you talking? Which house are you talking about for him?
The second house. So Bill Gates doesn't have any planets in his second house. So he has no like karmic obstacles to overcome.
Wait, so if you have a planet in a house, it means you have a problem with that area?
Yeah, technically, kind of. It doesn't have to be a problem because, I mean, a problem can also be a strength, you know, especially in astrology, or not astrology, sorry, spirituality, you know.
Sounds
like
good.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
Like, every bad kind of comes with some good, you know, but he doesn't have any karmic connections or any, like, I guess, personal vendettas with it in a way, you know? And I'll get more into it when I talk about your, like, how things fit in there. And then, okay, so let's move on to the fourth house. That one is home, roots, one parent, circumstances at end of life. That's what my book says.
One parent, circumstances at end of life? End of my life? Or end of my parents?
End of your life.
And what does the house represent again?
The fourth house.
What is?
It represents your home, your roots. It represents one parent, so the mother typically. and circumstances at the end of your life. I took this from Astrology for Dummies, by the way. Cite my sources.
I'll leave a link in the description. Okay, so
and that house also has a lot to do with like family, how you're gonna be once you have a family, how you interact with your family. It has a lot to do with the way that your family perceives you. Typically, the area that it cusps on is how your family perceives you. So yours is in Aquarius. So your family probably perceives you as very like eccentric, kind of all over the place. A lot of the time, Aquarius is very like mad scientist energy. You know what I mean?
yeah. This is so cool.
Okay.
I'm taking so much notes.
Nice.
This is the coolest shit ever.
Do you like it?
I
so
fucking
far?
love this. Like,
Okay, so I'm gonna actually go back and I'm gonna like talk about each cusp because I feel like I should be talking about your chart if I'm like pulled it up. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. Are you okay with that?
whatever direction you want to go in, I'll go in there.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the first house. So, your first house, again, that's about like your appearance and your like how you present yourself to the world. That's in Libra, which is really crazy that you have a Libra rising. I was like really shocked about that. I was expecting it to be an Aquarius rising, actually.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know too much about the astrology signs, so when you say Libra, I don't really understand what that means.
Okay, that's cool. I can talk about that. I'll get into that right now.
Okay.
I was just looking at that earlier. Let me get that pulled up, actually. Yeah, I was going to talk about it. So, with a Libra rising, hold on. Okay.
Sorry I cut you off. I just like really
No,
don't know about
don't
this.
be sorry. I'm trying to find what I was looking at earlier so I could explain it better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Saturn, Neptune. I was thinking about putting sticky notes on this stuff, and I should have. I was like, no, but I probably should have.
They're really helpful. I've been like reading books recently, and I got these like post-it tabs for like books specifically, and it's a perfect way to highlight without highlighting.
And then you don't have to like leave it in your book. You know, you could just pull it out and then.
Yeah, so you can have a fresh start the next time you read it.
Fresh book.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me see if I can get like another little list going because I want something that's easy to reference when I'm explaining each of the signs too.
Sounds good.
How was your day, Amelia?
It kind of just started almost, but not really, because I didn't really sleep too well, so it was kind of an endless night of kind of just thinking about stuff.
Did you sleep today?
I laid in bed.
You did.
I laid in bed and tried. I probably did for a second, maybe. I laid in bed for 5 hours and then I just went in the sauna. And I took a nap in the sauna. So.
Oh,
Yeah, so I got some sleep, but definitely not full 8 hours.
That's so crazy. You have a sauna.
It's a bag.
It's a bag?
Yeah, it's like a sleeping bag, but it's a sauna.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
was
it's
like, is it safe? I thought you meant like a plastic bag.
well, kind of. It's like just leather, not plastic or pleather.
Pleather. A
Pleather.
pleather sleeping bag? How is that a sauna?
Because it has like a little
Steam wave?
infrared. It has infrared rays or whatever, producing rays. I'm
Oh.
not really sure how it works. It's like maybe electromagnetic, and it also has amethyst crystal entwined with some other stuff. I can send you a link. It's I haven't really looked at their advertising in a while, but I was pretty sold, and it works very well.
Mm, that's cool. I probably won't buy it, honestly,
I don't.
but
I wasn't trying to sell it to you, just so you know what I'm using.
okay. You can send me the link if you want.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Okay. Okay. So a Libra is the sign of balance, right? So each zodiac sign has a kind of like I don't know what the right word would be. It's like a mantra. It's like a thing that they kind of say. You know what I mean? So each one, if you go through each zodiac, they all have their own little like mantra they say, and Libra says I balance. So this one's all about like justice and like treating other people fair. A Libra is really good at looking at things through another person's perspective and understanding how they feel, you know? They're an air sign, that's the element they're in, so they're very outgoing, very energetic. Um, Libras are also very charming. They're ruled by Venus, which is the planet of love, so they're very um, the combination of the outgoing and the love aspect of them makes them very charming, very graceful, very, kind of that peaceful. And they're also, so them being so centered around balance, it causes them to um, avoid conflict in a lot of ways. Libras are really known for being very indecisive. They have a hard time choosing things because they're constantly trying to balance out the different options.
Okay.
So that being your ascendant, that being your way you kind of present yourself to the world. Um, at first I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but it actually does make a lot of sense because you are a very fair person, you know. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think that's extremely describing me in every single way possible.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, in this one book right here, I can even read you a little paragraph it says about being a Libra ascendant.
Okay, so like the ascendant is like the core factor. Like, what does it mean to be ascendant?
So when astrology was first, I don't know if I don't know. I can't really say first because astrology's been going on forever. But before astrology was made really mainstream by newspapers, um, this is what astrologers looked at first. Your ascendant. This is like when you were asked, "What's your sign?" That's what people would refer to.
Are you
Like
kidding? It was never the sun sign?
it wasn't the sun sign at first, no. Because when people were first doing astrology, they weren't just talking about the sun. They were pulling up the whole chart like I'm doing for you right now.
So it's this whole
The,
masculine driven culture.
yeah, pretty much. So there's this one guy. I forget what his name is, but he is the person who made astrology really popular. So, Queen Elizabeth. Okay, so this guy, I believe he was a journalist. I should look up the facts for this.
Just say what's on your mind.
Okay, I'll just say what's
Yeah.
on my mind. So, this guy, he was a journalist, right? And he wrote an article about Queen Elizabeth and her natal chart. He did her whole horoscope. He explained something. I'm not sure if there was like something big going on, but he explained that, you know. And everybody loved it, and everybody was so interested in it that he decided to create a way for people to read their own horoscope in the newspaper because everybody wanted to know what theirs was. So he used the sun, which is the sign that everybody identifies the most with, because your entire personality is kind of formed around your sun. It's who you are. It's like how you shine in the world, you know? He used that for that reason, and also because it's really easy to figure out what your sun sign is, you know? It's like kind of goes on a monthly basis. It's pretty consistent. And he put out little horoscopes like that, and that's how like modern horoscopes were kind of created.
That's really cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's nice history.
Right? And but yeah, before that, people were more interested in your ascendant because with your ascendant you learn what planet rules your chart. So your chart is ruled by Venus. You have a Venus chart ruler. And Venus is the planet of love. It's also the planet of beauty. It's the planet of art, creativity, things like that. So I think that's really cool because it's something that you've mentioned before you're kind of growing into, you know, and learning to embrace.
So when you say my first house is Venus Libra? Like, what does that mean?
Venus is its own thing, right?
Yeah.
It represents love, it represents beauty, like I said before. But there's two different signs that are ruled by Venus. There's Libra and there's also Taurus. Each planet rules a certain sign, and there's a few different planets that rule two signs. So it's kind of complicated to start with the Venus because it makes it two, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So when you look at Libra and when you look at Taurus, you can see how they're heavily influenced by art, things like that. Venus also has a lot to do with money and value and indulgence because, like, I don't know, usually a lot of the time luxury is associated with indulgence, you know? Okay, so that is your ascendant, right? It's Libra. That's awesome. It's the cusp right there. And then when we get to the cusp of the second house, we see that that is in Scorpio. And then, okay, so let's go over to the second house. So like I said before, the second house has a lot to do with like value, money, things like that. And when I was looking at your chart, I noticed that your Venus sits right there in the second house. So that shows an even like higher level of influence Venus is having on your chart right there, you know, and it's having that influence in your work life.
Why is Venus so in control?
Because it's just dominant. Your ascendant is a really important aspect of your chart. Typically, people are most heavily influenced by their ascendant sign, their sun sign, and their moon sign, right? People talk about that like as your big three, and that's kind of like the main approach people take when looking at the chart, and that's what the core areas of your personality are. So when you have the following planets after that also having heavy influence from a planet, it further strengthens the placement before, you know? It makes all those other placements really strong.
Okay, I'm starting to get lost.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I could have started with what each planet meant. Because I feel like I'm getting more into like the math of things and how things like are correlating, and I'm not really getting into like what the things are that are correlating.
Yeah, like I'm basically at a fundamental level, like elementary school level, so
I'm sorry.
pretend you're teaching like a 6-year-old what astrology is for the first time because I have almost no experience with it.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to start with your sun sign then. So, do you kind of know about being a Sagittarius? Because you're a Sagittarius.
I used to look into it in middle school, but I have very much not looked into it at all for a long time.
Okay.
Like
What do you remember about it?
like I lied. I did recently watch one video like a month ago because I'm starting to get interested in it now, which is why I asked you to do
Right.
this.
Right,
Um but basically the things that I heard from that is that I'm a torchbearer, I'm like a spark in the night, and like I lead people out of darkness. That's the
Yeah,
main thing I got out of it.
that's cool. Yeah. A lot of the time with astrology and stuff, I mean, people like to like flatter and stuff. But okay. So Sagittarius is 100% the most optimistic sign in the zodiac. So
Wow.
I could see why they say you're like a torchbearer, because it's very much like kind of a light of the zodiac, you know?
Yeah.
It's it's a fire sign,
Mhm.
which is fire signs are very energetic, but they can also fizzle out kind of,
Yeah,
because
burnout.
yeah, they put so much of themselves into something, and then um, that passion kind of like fizzles out, kind of like a flame, you know?
Exactly.
Um, what else having to do with being a Sagittarius? Sagittarius also kind of has foot and mouth syndrome a little bit. They're known for kind of like saying crazy things, and then like they don't even realize, but when they're saying it, it can like offend people.
Man, I just did that this morning. Man, you want to hear the story?
I do. What
Okay,
happened?
okay. I mean, I'm gonna put this on my podcast, but like, it's like way too personal to like describe. But like, basically, my friend was having relationship problems, and I was like, oh, like you should get a therapist. But if you can't afford it, I could be his therapist if you want me.
Oh my god.
It's like the most like crazy thing to say to someone. I know it's crazy while I'm typing it, but I'm like, I have the
I can
excuse that I'm
imagine.
high right now.
They weren't okay with it though?
um like they replied like they were like really happy about it because not happy, but like, you know, the friends that I speak to are already tolerant of who I am as a person. which is a crazy person. So like
Yeah,
they expect
exactly.
me to say something like that. So like they're very receptive for it. And then I expanded more on it when they gave me the thumbs up. And like then they didn't reply. And like
Oh
I don't know if
no.
they're gonna reply. I'm sure
Oh
they are.
no.
They're a very very busy person. So like um
They
I
just
just
gave
I
you
just
a
know
thumbs
I'm
up.
crazy. It's really bad.
That
Foot
sounds
and
bad
mouth
bad
syndrome.
though.
Yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
bad because I like being honest.
Yeah. Well, exactly. You're gonna like they just kind of say what they think, you know?
Yeah.
But that can be a blessing and a curse. And Sagittarius is actually the sign of honesty and of the truth, you know? Hold on. Let me pull that up right now. So, having your sun sign be a fire sign, I feel like that naturally makes that placement much stronger. Because um okay, first of all, I guess I should kind of get into what it means to be a fire sign, right?
I have like a slight understanding of like what it means to be a fire sign.
Right.
Cause like I do practice
Cause you,
tarot, so I know like what fire, earth, water, and air mean. Like fire is energy and like ambition and like like I know the basics of the elements, but like
yeah,
I just don't know too much about astrology.
right. Well, what are you kind of like wanting to learn about? Like what each zodiac means, like
I just basically want to have more insight of myself.
of yourself. Okay. Um, I'll talk about like the big three then.
Okay.
So, yeah, with the big three, there's your rising sign, there's your sun sign, and there's your moon sign. So, with the big three, I kind of like to explain it like an onion. So, with your personality, there's like a few different layers, right? There's the outermost layer, that's the what you present to the world. That's how everybody else perceives you. That's that's your personality you show when you run into a stranger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one is primarily your rising sign. Um, and then when you kind of move past that layer, once you like meet somebody and they start to see who you are, that's when your sun sign starts to show through. The sun sign, like I said before, it's who you are. It's how you perceive yourself. It's the kind of person that you want to be. So, a lot of the time, we take a lot of identity in it, and in order to feel like we're being ourselves, we strive to be more like what our sun sign is. And then when you move past that layer, you get to your moon sign. So your moon sign is more about your emotions. It's the kind of person that people get to see once they get closer to you. It's how you act at home. It's the kind of things that make you feel safe and secure. And the moon also has a lot to do with the mother, like the whole archetype of the mother, things like that, motherhood in general. Um, and also, um, I've heard people say that your sun sign has to do with like the father and stuff as well, but in reality, um, Saturn is actually the planet of the father. So it gets kind of confusing there, like how, like if you want to look at astrology and look at how somebody's going to be as a parent, you kind of have to look at a few different planets. You can't just say the sun or Saturn, you know?
Yeah. Because you need more
So,
insight.
right, right. So, I kind of went over. Okay, so I went over how you present yourself to the world as like a Libra, right? So you come off as somebody who's very fair, who's very charming, very outgoing, and then once people start to see your personality, they start to see more of the Sagittarius in you, the fieriness, um, the optimism, the joy that comes with the Sagittarius. It's a very carefree sign. Sagittarius is actually ruled by Jupiter, which is the planet of luck. So anybody who has really heavy Sagittarius in their chart is naturally really lucky. But actually, in your chart, I saw that your Jupiter was retrograde, which I mean, this is going to sound like crazy, but it means that you feel like you're somebody who doesn't get very lucky. And you
Yeah.
feel like things that other people feel entitled to, you feel like you have to work really hard for them.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
I read that and I was like, whoa, I gotta tell her that.
That's so crazy.
So it's really interesting because you are super lucky and it naturally flows to you, but your entire life, you're going to have this feeling of like you don't deserve the luck or like it's not coming to you.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
It's exactly accurate.
I know. Okay, and now I want to talk about your moon. I love the moon sign.
Okay.
So, your moon is in Aries, which is so wild. So, you have double fire, your sun and your moon. Whenever people have really similar moon and sun signs, there is a harmony to who they are. Because if you have really different signs in those two placements, you're going to feel like there's a disconnection between who you are and how you like present yourself and everything versus how you feel. And you're gonna like have a hard time identifying with what your sun sign is.
Yeah.
But for you, that's not necessarily the case because your moon is in Aries, so those two are going to be working together and you're going to be able to understand your feelings a lot better, which is really cool. So, I have this book here, and it talks a lot about having the different moon signs, and it has a little section right here that says it has a list of like the general good things that come with having a moon sign, and I'm gonna read it to you, okay? This is about you.
Okay, so what you're reading something about the moon sign is what you said?
Yeah, this is about you having an Aries moon, okay?
Okay.
So, it lists off the different like gifts of having an Aries moon. So there's initiative. It says you are often the first one on the dance floor or the first to the top of the mountain. And then it says energy. You operate with enthusiasm and charisma when you're emotionally engaged. Resilience. You are good in an emergency and can multitask under stress.
Wait. A little slower.
Okay.
Wait, energy offers what?
So you operate with enthusiasm and charisma when you're emotionally engaged.
Enthusiasm and emotion?
Enthusiasm and charisma.
Charisma. Okay. That's
When you're
nice.
emotionally engaged.
Nice.
Gotta be emotionally engaged, though.
Yeah.
Or else fizzle out. And then there's the resilience. So you are good in an emergency and can multitask under stress.
Okay.
I feel like it's true. Generally, you're pretty stressed usually.
I'm always stressed.
You usually have a lot going on.
It's because I never put myself in not an emergency.
I feel like that has a lot to do with you being so fiery too. Like you just keep yourself busy all the time.
It's because when I stop, I destroy myself.
Oh.
Yeah. Like you need to put that fire somewhere, or else you're gonna
Yeah.
explode.
Hey, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then there's spontaneity. It says you expect, even enjoy the unexpected, and are usually up for adventure.
That's great.
Right? And
Yeah.
then this last one is strength. So it says you can handle life events that would crush others.
Ha!
And can loan strength to support others when needed. But just because you're strong enough to handle a tough situation doesn't mean you need to stay there.
Oh, yeah. That's good advice.
Right? Ask if it's really for the highest good of all involved, you included, to hang in there. How do you feel about that?
What specifically?
The whole thing about asking yourself if it's for the highest good to like stick with something, just because you can handle it, does that really mean you should?
Well, it depends what it is. Like, if you're handling something just because, like, it's something you're doing, you shouldn't stick with it just because, like, you already started. You should do something you enjoy and stick with that and make that hard instead of, like, sticking with something like a sunk cost fallacy. Because, I was in college and I dropped out because it was no longer serving me. So, like, if I'm just in college just to be in college and just because I'm good at it, doesn't mean that I'm like excelling at it in any way that helps me.
Right. So you know how I mentioned before that Libra's eye balance?
Okay.
So generally, I know I said that for your rising sign, but generally people with the like little mantra they say, it applies more to your sun sign. So your actual like mantra, I would say for you, is the one for Sagittarius, which is I achieve. Which is kind of interesting. So mine is actually I analyze, which I think is funny right now because I was like, hold on, let me analyze this.
That's great.
So that's why I thought of it right now. I was like, what's Amelia's? And I looked right now and it says I achieve.
Man, just
which
like
is funny because you were just talking about, you're like, oh, and then what I did in school and
yeah, just hearing the words I achieve just like takes all the warmth out of my body. Like I don't know, it just gave me chills. Like my God, that is what my entire life is about. I'm so focused on success. Every time I talk to people, I'm like, "Oh, so what are you doing with like your job and stuff?" Like,
I know.
and I'm
And
like,
you don't even realize it either, but it's how you do things too, You're
it's
like,
just what
oh,
I'm comfortable talking about. It's like, oh,
yeah.
like
I
I
mean,
don't know.
it's not even like what you achieve, it's like what you do.
Yeah.
Because you do it so naturally too, you just kind of like do things. But like the whole I feel like it's so specific that you're like, oh, I do say that. Like I analyze, it's like, oh, analyze, that's such a specific word, but I say it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so crazy. It's like such a crazy thing to have a mantra.
Mhm. Yeah, it's cool.
Man, I'm so cold now.
You're
Like,
cold?
I feel like you struck like a chord of like this unknown thing that I've been like holding. And like, you know how I said like if I'm not doing something, it like burns inside of me and I destroy myself. Like,
Yeah.
I think you got rid of some inner fire that was like kind of destroying myself. So now I'm like at a place where I'm like not stressing myself over that unknown thing that I don't know.
That's good. Yeah, because that's true. Because I feel like you're like, I don't know why, but I just feel like I need to be doing something, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you don't have to always be doing something. It's good because it makes you feel fulfilled, but
Yeah.
like you can always just take a break and just be a person.
Yeah, it's my biggest lesson.
Mhm. So, I know I've kind of talked about like a lot of different stuff. How do you feel about like everything so far?
I feel completely satisfied. If we stopped now, I would be satisfied, but I would keep going if you want to keep going. Like, I just feel 100% like very satisfied with everything you've told me.
That's good. I'm glad. I can leave it at that if you want to leave it at that. I have this one. Okay, let me look up a little thing I want to read to you. It talks about how your sun and your moon work together. Whenever I read this to people, I find that they like really like it.
Cool.
And they're always like, wow, I can't believe how accurate that is, and they get like all freaked out.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Can't wait for that.
You're like, that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh. So it gives like a little title of what you are, and this calls you a gossiper. That's kind of saucy.
That's crazy. Does it elaborate?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, please elaborate.
Imagine if I was like, that's it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, I'm just
You're
gonna
like,
think
all
about
right.
that all night.
Okay. So even though you are smart and perceptive, sorry, let me try again. I apologize. Even though you are smart and perceptive, your emotional growth lags behind your understanding. It is almost impossible for you to sit still for very long because you are more like a round-eyed child than a dignified academic. You always want to discover adventure and excitement. There is a duality between the way you show yourself and the way you actually are. The surface is knowledgeable and profound, but the inside is reckless. A Sagittarius Aries is fearless and about speaking their mind and has been so since a young age. No other mixture personifies such blunt outspokenness. You have no inhibitions, but have the courage to say precisely what you feel. You are active, capricious, and very independent. Everything is as you see it. It does not matter what others think. You are forthright and fearless. You have a philosophical and serious part to you, to your nature too. And there are not many subjects you cannot talk about intelligently. You really like to shock people with your unusual behavior. You do not need to wear a costume at a Halloween party. Wit rates among your greatest pulses. Or, what is that word?
What?
There's this crazy word, P-L-U-S-E-S. Have you ever heard that word before?
Pluscs?
Yeah. Here, let me send this to you so you can read it along with me. Because it's kind of like,
Ooh, yes, please.
okay.
Instagram?
Yes.
I sent you that link to them. I forgot I sent that.
I know, isn't
Oh
it
my
funny?
god. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh,
Okay.
that is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, isn't it so cool? Precisely what you feel you're at
No,
and
that one.
everything. It's like $500.
Yeah, it's 600. It's
Pl-
wild.
plu-
Okay, let me read this. I'm
Plusies.
gonna read
Wait,
that.
I'm gonna
I'm
look.
gonna read that one.
Let me look up that word first.
Okay.
Is it pluses?
Um.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the. Yeah,
It's
it's just
it's
the
less
plural form of
Sagittarius.
plus. That's so funny. You're like plusies. Your
It's so
greatest
weird,
plusies.
but it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
it make sense?
It's a bad.
Hold on.
I don't really like that word. It looks weird. I don't think it's
Right?
real at this point.
Okay, here's the sentence. Wit rates among wit. This is so complicated. Why did they write it like that? Wit rates among your greatest pluses.
So it just means I have a good wit.
Why did they have to say it like
They're
that?
just trying to be fancy. Like they're like, "Oh, I'm a sophisticated person, so I'm going to try to speak in the sophisticated way, especially when I'm specifically speaking about someone that's like good at like describing things. I need to describe things good myself."
Straight. They could have just said straight.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
That was so complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, from the top. Even though you are smart and perceptive, your emotional growth lags behind your understanding. It is almost impossible for you to sit still for very long because you are more like a round-eyed child than a dignified academic. You always want to discover adventure and excitement. There is a duality between the way you show yourself and the way you actually are. The surface is knowledgeable and profound, but the inside is reckless. A Sagittarius Aries is fearless about speaking their mind and has been so since a young age. No other mixture personifies such blunt outspokenness. You have no inhibitions, but have the courage to say precisely what you feel. You are active, capricious, and very independent. Everything is as you see it. It does not matter what others think. You are forthright and fearless. You have a philosophical and serious part to your nature too, and there are not many subjects you cannot talk about intelligently. You really like to shock people with your unusual behavior. You do not need to wear a costume at a Halloween party. Wit ranks frick.
The sentence again. It's such a stupid sentence.
I was like, crap, here it comes.
Oh yeah.
Wit rates among your greatest pluses. There we go. You also manage to annoy some people by pointing out everything they are attempting to ignore.
I just got like, oh my god, this just happened with me and my boyfriend last night. He was like, "Stop trying to fix me."
You're satirical and playful. Luckily, people who deserve your attacks are the ones who get them.
What? That
Dang.
is crazy.
Using simple nonchalance and purity, you attempt to bring out the hypocrisy you see everywhere.
Yep.
There's a bit of arrogance in your manner,
Yep.
even though people may love you. That's true. Your penchant is for drama.
Why?
Really, I don't feel.
Why is it called gossiper?
Yeah.
Did like some like
They don't.
some like bitch wrote this or something?
They don't like you.
Yeah.
They must be really hurt by you.
Yeah, they must know a person that's like a Sagittarius and they're like, I fucking hate that bitch.
They gossip. All they talk about is me.
Oh my god. Oh, it's so great.
You really enjoy showing off your humor and courage, and you flourish on competition.
Yeah.
From time to time, try a little thoughtful contemplation before you speak. Whoa, and be more respectful of the emotions and beliefs of others.
Hey, I do that now.
It is highly probable you will have several occupations in your life.
Yeah.
Because this combination connotes diversity. You are both a calculating philosopher and a perennial optimist. In spite of your lack of inhibitions and proper behavior, you always have friends. Others admire your bravery and fresh, alluring charm. You are demonstrative and big-hearted. Your hunger for an audience, and an audience is what you generally find. The comedian, critic, dramatist, and satirist are good for what your combination.
That's fucking what I'm doing. Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Mark Twain and James Thurber are both fine examples of Sagittarius Aries. You need be careful of that rather big ego of yours, but you are essentially good-hearted and kind. I had no idea Mark Twain was a Sagittarius Aries. That's crazy. That's really cool.
Man, Mark Twain? That's a cool motherfucker. That's a cool motherfucker.
That's cool. That's you. You're Mark Twain.
Man, I'm reincarnated. Mark Twain.
That's so crazy. Is he dead?
I don't
Is he
know.
dead?
Isn't he like 1800s author or something?
What did he write?
Like Oliver Twist, right? Let me look this up. I'm gonna look up
Huh?
Oliver Twist.
Mark Twain. I've
No,
never
that's
even heard
Charles Dickens. What the fuck did Mark Twain write?
Huckleberry Finn.
I never read that book before. I didn't even type in Mark Twain. I typed in Mark Twab.
What?
Oh my god.
I typed in Mark Twain.
I've never read any of these books. Oh my
You've
god.
never heard of Huckleberry Finn?
I don't think so. Man, I'm uncultured.
They used to read it in school, but they never made us read it.
Yeah, but he's old.
He is old.
He's so old.
Yeah, he's probably dead.
Concerning the Jews. What the fuck?
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh, I need to read that book. How much does that cost? What the fuck is this? Wait, a short essay by Mark Twain. Mark Twain had lived in Austria during 1896 and opined that the Habsburg Empire used Jews as scapegoats to maintain unity in their immensely diverse empire. Wow. That's pretty profound. Alright, well, sounds cool. That was really good, Laura.
Thank you.
I really think you should get paid to do this.
You think so?
I 100% think you should get paid to do this. You know why? Because you
Why?
enjoy doing it.
Oh, thank you, Amelia. Oh man.
Like
I'm glad you liked it.
you're having
Yeah,
such a good time doing it.
Yeah, I honestly, Amelia, I read you front to back. I read every single planet on your thing, and I figured it out. I got you like all figured out.
Yeah, like you just have this like understanding, like this natural understanding. You're definitely channeling some sort of like divine skill in order to read these, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, actually, in my chart it says that I'm so you know how I talked about like the sun and stuff? My sun sits in the house that has to do with like teaching and like higher teaching and things like that. So when I was reading my chart and I was looking at like career and things like that, I saw a lot of planets sitting in my ninth house, and I was like, I would probably be kind of good at teaching people things like this. But I think that I would probably have to do a little more like fine tuning, a little, I don't know, a little preparation, maybe like get myself a little like reference page or something. I don't know. I could definitely fine tune it though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, well, you always need to fine tune stuff. Like, nothing's ever gonna be perfect. So, like, right now, like, I could have not made a podcast about this because I don't have the proper audio equipment. But I'm just, I have a shitty mic next to my phone on speaker, and like, that's what I have right now. So I'm gonna make this thing, and like, it's gonna be a shitty piece of work. But like, I'm glad that I'm doing it. You know,
Yeah,
because it just
but
it feels
it
good
was
to do it.
also great. It was also great despite, and I'm sure the audio's fine.
I'm sure it is too, but I get into those perfectionist stages too, and it haunts me and like blocks me, and it doesn't let me do the things I want to do. So like I think if you want to do something like this, just let yourself go into it and not try to like go too much into fine tuning yourself, because what you did right now was already great. Even if you
Thanks.
didn't bookmark your book, like, you know.
Thanks. Yeah, do you think I should like Do you think I should write a book
Yeah.
or something like that?
If you want to write a book, you should write a book, but only if you want to. Like if that's what you really want to do. But if like just anything that sounds fun to you, just do it. And like
Oh,
just try to figure out something that you could do to give to other people that involves something like this where you're genuinely enjoying something.
oh, okay. I will. Oh man, that was a good old time, wasn't it?
It was fucking
I'm glad.
great. You want to do this again sometime?
Yeah, I do. I have a lot more I would like to talk about with your chart too.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm like physically drained.
no, I for sure. Yeah, I kind of bit off a lot there.
No, it's a lot. It was really good.
Yeah. Well, think about it a little, and like a lot of a lot of the time with astrology, you hear things like this and it kind of like you're like, "Oh, that's cool. That kind of sounds like me." And then as you go through your life, you'll like think about it later and be like, "Oh, there I go doing that again. Oh my gosh." And it
Yeah.
kind of like influences the way you look at yourself and you grow to not only do you like learn a lot of your faults and you work on them, but you also grow to appreciate a lot of things about yourself that make you special. So,
Yeah, it's cool delving into magical things like this because like I'm practicing magic through tarot cards
right.
and
Yeah,
like
that's really cool.
it's the same idea that you just gave where I pull a card temperance and I get that card all the time. It's about needing to create balance and I see it and I like know what it's trying to tell me like immediately and I'm like fuck. And then I pull up Empress and I'm like stop talking about my mom like you fucking bitch like I don't want to think about this right now like
Oh my gosh. You're like, why does it always have to do with her?
yeah, exactly. Like, stop bringing her up. Stop
Yeah.
bringing up my unconscious like desires or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Next time, you should read my cards. That'd be fun.
100%. I could do that now if you want to, but I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, we can.
No, you
If you
don't
have
have
time,
to. I
I
have
could.
time if you want to.
Let's do it.
Fuck
I'm
yeah.
down.
Okay, let me get my
You just said
cards.
you were drained, so I was worried. I didn't want to like
No, I'm
suck your energy.
basically just drained of like learning more about this.
Learning.
Yeah,
Learn.
exactly. But I could do a little reading for you and like I'm barely a good card reader, so
It'll be fun.
more of that perfectionist attitude. Um,
It'll be fun.
let me get a few books right now.
Okay. When you're doing your cards, do you like ask yourself a question? Like, what is the topic generally?
Um, sometimes I ask myself a question, but most of the time I leave it super open ended because the important thing about tarot cards is you need to have an open ended questions, not just yes or no's, because you need to be able to abstract from it. And yes or no's are pretty blank and like you just need a open ended question to give you more insight. And so what I do is I say, what do I say? I say, what do I need to hear today?
Mm.
Just something
Yeah.
very general like that.
Yeah, just to kind of like leave it open.
Yeah. So I am going to let me see. I kind of want to ask you what deck of cards you want. I'm not gonna pick this Black Cat's Tarot because the it's like very um its own thing, but the worst thing is that they're king and queen. I'm not really sure which one is the king and queen based on like the crown symbol that they have because they don't say the word queen or king. So like it's hard to figure out what it is. I have to like yeah, I have to like look at a Rider Waite deck, like maybe see what the drawing is and like see which one it pertains more, the queen or the king, and like I don't know. I think it's really hard to decipher.
Yeah, you don't gotta do all that. It's okay.
So I have three other tarot decks that you could choose from because
Okay.
these ones actually say what they are. So I have the Aleister Crowley Thoth deck. I have this um the Big Book of Angel Tarot by this gay guy, Radley Valentine, and then I have a Zelda deck that's more traditional, more Rider Waite.
Mm, I like the Zelda deck.
Okay, so traditional.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Plain Jane, real traditional.
I'll send you a picture of the cards I pull out. Do you have a specific question?
Just generally what I should be hearing today, you know?
Okay.
Something nice. I've had kind of a crazy past few days, so it'll be interesting to see what it's got to say, you know?
Okay, what does Laura need to hear about today? Isn't this fun?
Yeah, this is really fun.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun doing this. Like, I I haven't really been giving readings to myself, but just because like sometimes I do it too much and like it just feels like this chore. So I like doing it when it feels right. And like helping other people or like just like uh giving something to someone and like giving a little reading just feels really nice for some reason. I don't know.
It's fun. Do you feel like when you have, like, you read other people's cards, are they like, oh, it's so accurate?
100%. Like it's
That's cool.
I I say stuff to them and they're like, "You just fucking got me, dude." And I'm like, "What did I even fucking say? What did I say to you?" Was it really that profound? Like, are you kidding me?
You're like, I just said what the name was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pull out 3 cards for you.
Okay.
Just because that's what I usually do, and it's a very simple thing, and I'm also learning, so I don't want to make it too complex for myself where I'm not gonna be able to help you
Right.
understand it. So I'm just gonna do as simple as possible. So first card out is King of Bottles.
Oh, I've never even heard of that. King of Bottles.
It's the King of Cups if you're doing
Okay.
regular, because I'm doing
Oh, because
a
it's Zelda.
It's
Okay.
Zelda theme. Second
Oh.
second card on the left is the Queen of Swords. I know about her. She's very blunt. And
Uh-oh.
she's inverted. I don't really do card inversions too often because I don't understand them too well, but I will read you the inverted card meaning. And I feel
Okay.
like the inverted card makes it more negative than it should be. And I feel like the deck itself is already the world, so it's already incorporated the bad into the deck. So I don't see a need to make
You
things
don't want to go
worse.
over the bad vibes, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, and then I got 10 of swords, but another card was trying to get pulled out, so I'll just pull it out. And the 10 of
Okay.
wands.
Oh.
Okay, so you got 2 court cards here. Court cards in general are people,
Mm.
and then you got 2 10 cards. And that's kind of like I'm not really sure what it truly represents, the 10. There's like a specific way that the numbers
What?
um
So they're both number 10?
yeah, you got 10 of swords and 10 of wands.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying
So
to remember what 10 meant, but I think it's like the absolution of that like um sign, like the sword sign and the wand sign. Cuz
so it's like I'm absolutely swords and I'm absolutely wands right now.
like
Full sword, full wand.
a little bit it kind of just has like it just brings everything together. Like
Ooh.
I don't really it's hard to describe, but
Like it's coming full circle.
when you get ace, yeah, exactly, it's coming full circle because when you get
Okay.
ace, it's the fundamentals of the sign itself. Like if you
Okay.
get Ace of Swords, if you get Ace of Wands, it's the fundamental. It's just that initial spark, you know. So I'm gonna
Right.
start reading this. The first card I pulled up was King of Bottles, and it's in the little trio. Let me send you a picture of what I'm seeing right now.
Okay.
All right.
There it is.
Let me drink some water. I just sent it. That's why.
Okay.
What are you laughing at?
Just because I was like, I don't know, I was waiting for it. I thought that whole time it was like waiting to send, and you're like, oh no, I just sent it.
Yeah, I've been taking a long time to like take a picture and like make it nice
I
and
know.
looking good.
I was sitting there like watching it waiting to come in.
Okay, so I got King of Cups. So with the Zelda deck, it's more traditional. It's very trying to be like the Rider Waite deck, which is what most people use is the Rider Waite deck. It's like the fundamental, most popular way to translate the cards. So this is a very, very traditional way of interpreting tarot.
Right, right.
All right, so I'm just gonna read this to you for that King of Bottles.
Okay.
King of Cups, fire of water. Description: the King of Cups sits on a throne that is floating in the sea. In the background to the left, we see a whale, and to the right, a ship. So this is describing the Rider-Waite deck, the symbology. So whenever you hear a description, just know that they're talking about the Rider-Waite deck and not this Zelda deck that I randomly got.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Okay, symbolism and meaning. King. Should I send you a picture of this so you could like follow?
I got you. You can if you want. Do it. Just do it. Go for it.
Hopefully you can read that.
We'll find out right now.
Okay, symbolism and meaning. Kings represent mastery of their seat and element. They are the mature development of masculine energy, and this does not fit well with the water nature of cups. His demeanor is that of seriousness. After all, he is a king. There is a difference between the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. She may have created her cup, which symbolizes her creative powers. The King of Cups holds his as a symbol of power. His cup is more practical than hers, which could explain his cup being normal and not ornate. What does this translate to? It shows that his emotional side is controlled by masculine influences. This is a man who is connected to feelings, but not overwhelmed or ruled by them. This notion can also be observed by the strong waves surrounding him. However, he is calm and cool where the currents do not move him. Again, this masculine influence does not sit well with cups, and the element water. Water likes to flow and be free. Being that the king, which is structured, and that the king of cups is fire water, we've got an unsettling combo. These conflicting influences manifest strongly when he is ill-dignified. The whale and ship in the background are symbolic of a few things and imply something to the nature of the King of Cups. The whale serves as a symbol of the hero's journey where he enters the belly of the whale, encounters death or great fears and overcomes them. The ship symbolizes the soul's journey from this world into the afterlife. Cultures such as the Egyptians would place Abydos boats in the tombs of pharaohs so they could use them to travel through to the afterlife. Later in Egyptian history, there was the creation of solar boats, which would allow the pharaoh to travel with the sun god Ra down the Nile during the day. What does this have to do with the King of Cups? It all translates to a deep layer of understanding. The King of Cups has been through a long journey of transformation of the soul, which results in deep wisdom.
Wow.
The personality of the King of Cups is that of a personality who expresses unconditional love and care.
Aww.
He is a counselor, the kind that is best to talk to about religion, spiritual matters, and issues regarding the heart. He listens and gives you a feeling of security. He looks for ways to get people to work together, to understand one another. So this makes him a very good mediator in a dispute. He's very patient before committing himself to a thing or a person. He is slow to open up to. He wants to know that he can trust you. Trust is important to the king.
Aww.
Astrologically, the King of Cups is associated with the sign Cancer, which is protective of the home and family. They are sympathetic and gentle, but also moody. In a reading, the King of Cups can represent an older male figure or any person who offers guidance, compassion, and love. This can be a person interested in the arts. This also is typically someone who supports you. The King of Cups as an influence can be assigned to apply your creative interests and abilities in a practical manner. Do not get swept up in the motions of a situation. Understand how you and others feel. When you find something you love, do not get attached and invested right off the bat. Play it out and see if this endeavor is secure, safe, and trusting. When ill-dignified, which it's not, so I'm not going to read it. Okay, so that's a court card.
That was crazy.
Isn't
That
it great?
was really, yeah, that was really nice. So is that me? No.
You have to feel it yourself. So a court card is a person. It could be you, it could be someone else. If you feel like it's you, it's probably you. Just
I'm
follow your
telling you,
intuition.
Amelia, that felt like me right there.
Yeah.
With I tell people a lot. I tell my mom a lot, and like when I talk to people, I tell them that I have this kind of like trouble with understanding water signs because in my natal chart I don't have any water in it. So things that have to do with like water energy in general, it's difficult for me to understand as a person. So that, like, when it said that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a super uncomfortable energy with feelings and emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. And it's like, not that the king is like not compassionate. Like, the king is very compassionate and loving and cares about people a lot, but it's just that it's probably like the expression of it, you know? There's like kind of a coldness to it. I don't know. Maybe it's the masculine energy. I don't know. Who am I to say? What's next? I'm ready.
You ready? Okay,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
go
ready.
to Queen of Swords. Like, I'm sorry I'm not giving too much input. I feel like I gain a lot more understandings when I read all of the cards.
No,
So,
yeah, it's cool. And I just was kind of saying that to kind of like
it
give you
helps me a lot.
validation. Like, yeah, like I agree. So, like,
It helps
yeah.
me a lot to hear what your input is because it gives me some feedback.
Okay.
So, the next one I pulled, which is the left card, if just a general thing to say is I usually do three cards. The bottom three or the first three are pulled. The last one really wanted to come out, the one that's on top. So that's why
Which
I
is
put that
crazy.
there.
I'm
So
excited.
um the themes could be because just look at the three cards for now. The themes could
Mm-hmm.
be past, present, future. It could be the center is the main attention, which is probably what it is. Like that's you. The center is the main attention and all the
Right.
cards surrounding it are supporting that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, just keep that in mind, like for what's prominent and like keep keep the intention of the placement of the cards because there is a lot to where they are placed.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. So this
Okay.
is King's the center. Okay.
So we got Queen of Swords on the left. It's inverted, but if I don't feel particularly attached to the inverted symbology, I'm gonna say that, but you could interpret it the way that you're feeling.
Okay. Sounds good.
So we got Queen of Swords,
Can you send
water.
me the little picture too?
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
It's so much easier to read it than hear it, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's crazy how much like
Like when you read it, you're like, oh, okay, there it is.
yeah, exactly. Like what are you saying?
Okay, keep going.
Okay, Queen of Swords, water of air. Description. The compelling Queen of Swords sits on her throne, looking right. In her right hand, she holds her sword that points up. Her left hand is raised, a gesture of greeting. Symbolism and meaning. The Queen of Swords is water of air. As we learned, water is receptive and is inward in nature. Air is related to thought, speech, and knowledge. With the Queen of Swords, we see these two elements combined and give us a queen that is very intelligent. Her intelligence comes from her receptive water nature, which allows her to observe her surroundings. Combined with air qualities, she is able to turn those observations into opinions, especially critical ones. She is a quick learner and can adapt to new information and new ways of thinking. This makes her a fast thinker, a witty one, in fact, for she does not have a sense of humor that is intelligent, that is the intelligent kind. In the background, we see a large grouping of clouds that cover about half the card. However, her head is above the clouds, which shows she thinks clearly. Her crown is made of butterflies. This serves as a symbol of the element of air. It also signals that her spiritual evolution is through serious contemplation, which is the essence of water of air. She is seated looking right, which may suggest she is forward thinking and progressive. She is depicted with her sword pointing up, which alludes to the Justice card. There is the possibility that she is judging someone or telling someone to rise up. Either way, she is an authority figure. I often call the Queen of Swords the queen who thinks she is king. She is independent and rules on her own terms. I associate her with virgin queens, those queens who rule alone without a king, such as the Queen Elizabeth I, who was called the Virgin Queen. The Queen of Swords has often represented a widow. She is simply independent. She could not subject herself to the will of another. Astrologically, the Queen of Swords is associated with the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius represents qualities, many of which I've already described in her, such as progressiveness and independence. The Queen of Swords can become aloof and detached from practical manners if she intellectualizes too much. In a reading, the Queen of Swords appears. It can represent a person who has authority. It could be someone like your boss or a judge. Oftentimes, when you have a mean boss, this queen will represent that person. The Queen of Swords is the perfect person to seek the most objective guidance from, free of personal bias or agenda. She looks at facts and evidence, so she will only give you the truth. She is honest and authentic. As an influencer and not a person, the Queen of Swords tells you to really think things through, to consider the evidence and facts at hand. Evaluate what is knowledgeable and objective. She can serve as a reminder that you should be truthful and honest. So I'm gonna read ill dignified now, which it is place. Because it's upside down. The Queen of Swords can become harsh with her words. Her constructive criticism turns to destructive. Her constructive criticism turns to destructive. The best reference to the ill-dignified Queen of Swords is Lady Macbeth from Shakespeare. Lady Macbeth represents the symbol of the anti-mother figure, which is apparent when she talks about smashing the brains of a baby that is feeding from her breasts. Lady Macbeth also defied gender roles by deviating away from her femininity in order to push her husband's political career. The Queen of Swords can become very demanding and domineering. She can also be someone who is picking at every detail, looking for errors and mistakes. Lastly, she can be unwilling to compromise and must have things her way.
Honestly, yeah.
It really ties in with the King of Bottles a lot.
Oh, why do you say that?
I think because the King of Bottles is the discomfort and the Queen of Swords is where you're comfortable.
Yeah. Oh. Oh my gosh, that's so right. Because, like, yeah, I have been kind of, like, uncomfortable with the whole, like, opening up to people and, like, all that stuff. And, there has been, like, tension lately. Like I said before, I've been having a crazy couple days, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. I had, like, a crazy conflict yesterday, too. And it's funny that it said, because what did it say about the queen? It said something like how she's like picking at every detail and looking for errors. I've kind of had like a little self-sabotaging streak lately where I pick things apart until I decide that I don't want to do it anymore, and it's just a way for me to avoid growing into what I'm meant to do, you know? I make excuses and then I'm like, never mind, because I've built up the task so much that I feel like I can't tackle it, you know?
I'm gonna go back to the placement of the cards because, like I was saying earlier about left, center, right. So if you think about it in a past, present, future perspective, the past is like this person that you've been your entire life. Like this Queen of Swords is who you are, and it's ill dignified. So it's saying these are your negative traits that you've brought with you that you need to work on, and this part of your past is making you this uncomfortable person in the present, which is the King of Bottles.
It's true. You're right, Amelia. That's so crazy.
Ready for the next one?
True. Yes, yes. Keep going.
Ten of Swords. You didn't get any major arcana, which is okay because it's a lot of reading. Because the major arcana are a lot.
Oh, okay.
A lot of words. But you just got the minor arcana, which is the like 1 through 10 court cards. Just that's all minor arcana.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's not very ominous, you know?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying like it's something that happened where you didn't get a major arcana card this time, but you might get one in the next reading. Who knows?
Woohoo! Okay. Send the pick.
All right, 10 of Swords. Let me drink some water because my voice is gonna start giving out if I don't drink water.
Okay. This is so fun.
Isn't it? I love doing this.
I honestly needed to hear that, Amelia.
Thank
you. That
was
wonderful.
Aw, okay. Well, I'm not doing much. It's just the cards.
I know, but it's great. I like it.
It's awesome. That and that's what I needed to hear from you with the astrology stuff. So like you bring a lot of value. Um. Okay, so Ten of Swords, esoteric title, Lord.
Second pick. Pick.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, keep on reminding me.
Okay.
All right, and sending.
Okay.
Esoteric title, Lord of Ruin.
Ooh.
Description: on the ground lays a man with 10 swords sticking out of his back. A pool of blood spills out. His right hand is seen making the sign of benediction. And I have a little note that says occurs as a result of prolonged compression or injury, because I didn't know what benediction meant, with his
Right.
hand. The clouds are gray with the sun breaking through. Symbolism and meaning. The Ten of Swords might give you a knee jerk reaction, much like death, the tower, and the devil might have. The feeling that we get from this image is of sadness, dread, and despair. The man is dead. What else could this mean? Let me reassure you, just like the other tough cards, death, the devil, and the tower, tarot is a system of symbols. This card is not about death. Swords deal with issues of the mind, communication, and thought processes. Taking a step back to the Nine of Swords, we saw a woman up in bed, crying, worried, and anxious. Something has been troubling her, and an issue won't rest. Her mind kept circling around something. This leads us to the Ten of Swords, which shows two possible conclusions. Either the thing that the woman was so worried about came true, or she can finally put the issue to rest and let it go.
Wow.
The first view, that of ruin, is an older meaning. The second view, that of letting go / release, is modern and softer. I feel both are valid and possible. The esoteric title of the Ten of Swords is Lord of Ruin. This is clear to what it means. Things fall apart and the outcome is disastrous. Something external or internal can be to blame for this. You may feel that everything has fallen apart. This can go to a little extreme as thinking life is over and why does everything bad always happen to me? There's a silver lining to this card that gives much hope. Swords deal with thoughts, thinking in the mind. This card could represent a release and letting go of an issue which has been a constant problem. Thus, the problem that the Nine of Swords was fretting about can be let go. This card represents a need to break the pattern of negative thinking. In the background, the sunlight breaks through, which shows hope for something better. This card reflects the whole idea of cycles being well. Something ended and there is hope for a new cycle to start. If you pay close attention to the man on the ground, to his hand, you'll notice that he is making the same sign as the Hierophant. It is a sign of blessing. Of course, it's a monster in the picture. I'm sorry. The secret message here is that bad things do happen, but there are blessings and good that could come from it. It is unsure if the sun is rising or setting. Are we drawn in dawn or dusk? Dusk represents the psyche being blurred, the blending of conscious with unconscious. If dawn, it represents beginning and renewals. In a reading, when the Ten of Swords comes up, it can show you that you have come to a conclusion on a matter. Sorry. It can show that you have come to a conclusion on a matter. You are ready to release something. This is the lowest point you could go. Now it is time to go up. Also keep in mind that risky adventures fail and ruin. This can be a warning card if it comes out in outcome and advice positions.
Ooh.
So you didn't get little dignified, so I'm not reading that, so it doesn't blur your mind.
Okay.
If you want to say something, you can, but this is a very past, present, future connection with me with what I'm reading. You have King of Bottles in the present of where you're at. Queen of Swords of things that you're used to and the things that have been bugging you and have been kind of destroying you and demolishing you. And the Ten of Swords represents the journey you could go through if you just let go of that past um phenomenon that you put yourself through.
Yeah. I gotta just let go, huh? That's what it's telling me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It kind of, what it said, it was like, yeah, well, you know what? It's over. Yeah, it sucked. He's dead. You see him? He's dead. But, like, you could go up if you keep going.
Yeah, like it's a symbolic representation of killing your past self and becoming something new.
That makes me feel like a phoenix.
You are a phoenix. Everyone's a phoenix.
That that makes me feel good.
Yeah, you should
I
feel
like,
good.
and
Life is
it's,
full of hope.
yeah, it's nice. Wow. And it's kind of, I think, because the whole thing was you question it and you were like, what does Laura need to hear? And it's telling me like, just drop it, because there's like sometimes there's that doubt where you're like, dang, should I be holding on to my past, and should I be like allowing it to make me a more um deep person, because that's like kind of something I've been thinking about. Like, yeah, the stuff you go through, it makes you like a stronger and more complex and deep person. But I mean, if it's eating you up, let it go. You don't gotta hold on to that. It sucks.
Yeah, it's important to not forget the past and like completely ignore it because that builds resentment. But if all you have is resentment, you really need to let it go.
Yeah, you're right. That's nice. Okay, now I'm so curious about the card that it was like, we gotta tell you about this. Like, what
Yeah,
is that about?
it really wanted to come out. I don't like I recognize this card. So I kind of have an idea of what it's going to say, but let me actually read it so I'm not abstracting from the source material. I will send you a picture. Give me a second.
Okay.
So that's the 10 of Wands. Wands is fire.
Ooh, fire. That's fighting.
The general, wait, where's my picture? There it goes. Sorry. An old lady here, I guess. The general idea I get from this, because I've read this card many times because I always pull it for myself, is it's overworking.
Oh.
Okay, 10 of Wands. It really wanted to say this to you.
Okay, let's hear it.
Lord of Oppression.
Oh my god.
Yep. A man hunched over by the weight of the wands he carries. In the background is a town or marketplace which he travels towards. The,
Ugh.
the Ten of Wands represents burdens and responsibilities. The man in the card has taken too much onto himself. The Nine of Wands tries to separate himself from others to recover from some previous battle. The Ten of Wands seems to try to make up for lost time, lost efforts, and tries to do everything on his
Oh.
own. The Ten of Wands reflects the personality of, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself, and only I can get this done. Another common trait to this card is a constant need to say yes to anyone who requests something to be done. The man here always says yes, and takes on more tasks and responsibilities than he can truly handle. Because of this need to do everything, the man overextends himself. He does too much, never refuses anything, and in the end, it can all come crashing down on him. The esoteric title of the Ten of Wands is Lord of Oppression. This is the perfect title for this card. Because of his burdens, the constant need to take care of everything, the man here has become oppressed. He cannot do what he wants, go where he wants, and just be free. Wands are associated with fire, which desires to be free and expand. However, he cannot do these things. There is a sense of being held down and back. This card reminds me of the Greek myth of Sisyphus, who was condemned in Tartarus to an eternity of rolling a boulder uphill and then having to watch it roll back down again, only to push it back up again. Sisyphus's labor was a very frustrating one, rather like labor in the Ten of Wands. His head is buried inside the wands, which may imply that he does not see exactly how much his burden is. This may also imply he might need assistance.
Oh.
In a reading, the Ten of Wands indicates that you may be weighted down by many responsibilities. You are burdened by all of your commitments. You may be working overtime or saying yes to yet another project at work that your boss asks you to help with. It can show that you are spending too much time helping others. You pull yourself too thin and into different directions. You may do this out of kindness of your heart or to make money. You may just love a new challenge and don't consider the other things correctly on your plate you need to deal with. You feel some resentment, however, because as a result, you cannot do what you want to do. When ill dignified, the Ten of Wands can indicate a blockage in your life and little progress is being made. You may be halted in place and kept at bay. You may have taken on more than you can handle. Your hard work and efforts may be for nothing and wasted.
Dang.
You want to hear what I have to say?
Yes. Absolutely.
This is your alternate future if you don't address the past parts of yourself that are negatively affecting yourself. Because I was pulling this card. Let me take a picture. I was pulling this card as I was pulling out your last card. So it's an alternate version. So I'm correcting my layout of this now that I've read it.
Right, right.
It's an alternate version of your future if you don't correct yourself.
Right.
So you could either have the Ten of Swords or Ten of Wands. Which one do you want?
They're both wild, Amelia. They're both wild. One of them's dead.
You gotta pick a sacrifice.
So I have to either choose the death of my past and this like rebirth, or I can keep working towards the same thing that is just not happening, you know?
Yeah. So which one do you want?
And yeah, obviously, I like the other one is just like pouring into a bucket with a hole in it, you know?
Yeah.
Man. Wow, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna move on.
Sounds like a good idea.
See, because it talks a lot about work, so it made me think. I was like, am I in a dead end job? But I'm not. I'm in a really wonderful job. I'm gonna get a promotion, or I did get a promotion actually, so that can't be it.
Okay.
So I think it has to do with like the whole uncomfort with the emotions that king feels, you know, and then the queen, the whole thing with the queen. What was her deal? What's she about? She was about.
She's very blunt and picks out all the perfectionistic details that need to be fixed on other people or on yourself in this case.
Yeah. So I need to quit being so nitpicky. I need to quit trying to figure it out. I need to quit putting so much work into it and figuring this thing out. I need to just let it happen, let it die.
Yeah, I think it's good to figure things out. I think it's bad to constantly try to correct yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of growing from your past mistakes.
You're right. Okay. Now I need to come up with a plan.
Yeah, that's the big part. How are you going to implement this knowledge?
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh man. Well, yeah, I needed to hear that. That was
That's
good.
great.
I like that it was like the alternate realities too. It could have been one or the other, you know?
Yeah, I just switched the placement of the cards again to be more like symmetrical.
Right. That's good. I like it.
Yeah, so that's what the world wanted to tell you.
That's crazy. Yeah, they were right. So, you know what I always find I feel after a tarot reading? I feel like it explains what already happened really well, but then there's always still that like, okay, so like what next, you know?
Yeah.
And it leaves it open, you know?
Because it's trying to move you forward in space. Like, you can't only be thinking about the past because then you're just going to be caught up in these emotions and just like feel you're going to be caught like I'm trying to find a good way to describe it, but you're basically going to stay in the past if you only think about a past. Like, it's trying to make you see in the future. Like, it wants you to push yourself towards a better future.
Right. have like that optimism about like what could be versus thinking about like what happened, you know?
100%.
Yeah, because I do get caught up in that. All right. I need to, you know what? I need to idealize myself a little bit. I find I do this thing where I look at myself very realistically, which can be very like, it's good, you know, it's good to be grounded and to understand. But it's also good to have dreams and to have like these goals that, you know, they may seem kind of far fetched and stuff, but it's okay to be unrealistic if it it'll make you that much better, you know, to push yourself out of the limits you're setting on yourself, you know?
Yeah, it really is might as well.
Yeah.
Like, what are the risks of trying something rather than not trying something? The
Mhm.
risk of trying something is like, oh, okay, you could fail. The risk of not trying something is you're definitely not never gonna. It's never gonna happen. Like, it's
Yeah,
either a possible no or a definite no.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, there
And
are.
I feel like you've probably told yourself that a lot, like the possible no and then the definite no. What does it usually tell you when you do like readings? I know it says you like it, you said you get that like work card a lot.
It tells me to calm down. It's
That's
really
funny.
bad. It's just like every time. It's like, hey, you could take a break.
You're like, no.
Like, I know you're gonna
I'm
say that
being
to me. Like,
constantly stimulated. Well,
yeah,
that's part of who you are too. You like the fire. It needs to be constantly stimulated. It gets bored easy. You just get bored easy. You know,
yeah,
how much to overthink about it. You get bored easy, and then you want to keep doing stuff. And like, if you get too stagnant, you feel stuck. So you got to keep moving.
yeah. It's just agitating,
Yeah,
purely
and
agitating.
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you could probably do things that are easier. You don't have to do like these crazy hard things all the time. You could like pick up a hobby that's like super easy, like I don't know, get a pet fish or something. That might be fun.
yeah. I have a pet fish and pet chickens. They've actually helped a lot.
Yeah,
Because
and it's
I watch these chickens and I'm like, man, they're just walking around eating food. What am I doing?
you're like they're so peaceful.
Yeah, like I wish I could do that.
Yeah, but that's what you need. Maybe some peace,
Yeah,
but also a task that is peaceful. Because if it's just peace, you're gonna get bored.
100%.
That's cool.
This is fun.
Yeah, that was fun. We both used our little spiritual skills. That was so fun.
Yeah, spirituality is the way to go.
It is. Okay, that was great. I'm so excited to do this again. When are
Me
we gonna
too.
do this again?
Not tomorrow because I want like a nice like
I
distance
think,
to think about stuff.
yeah, I will definitely want to take some time to like process. I want to process my cards, and I want like my next reading to be like a part two. You know, like what's next. You
Oh,
know,
100%.
I want some progress here.
100%. Yeah, because you got to take action now on what the cards have told you, and then they're gonna tell you something different, or else they're gonna say the exact same thing to you because you're not changing. So like, make sure
Hmm.
you're changing yourself, and
Do you
then
want do you want to do this in a month?
100%. Yeah, we can make a date if you want to, or just have
Yeah.
a random like, just text me like, hey, you want to do that thing?
I'll text you around like the first of the month. We don't have to do like it doesn't have to be the first of the month because usually I'm really busy on the first. But I'll remember because it is the first of the month. I gotta text you, and then
Okay, but if I
we'll
get a
talk
random
about.
urge, I'll let you know if I just want to call you.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fun too. I like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that was really
all
fun.
right.
I had a good
Yeah,
time.
I'll talk to you later, Amelia.
And I'll talk to
And
you later too.
should we say bye to your podcast too?
Laura said bye. Go ahead if you want to.
It's okay. You told him. All right, bye.
Bye.